Hey, welcome back everyone. It is now December 3rd of 2021, and ever since the very end of the Skywalker saga and The Mandalorian Season 2 as a whole, a lot of Star Wars fans have truly been looking forward to what Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni are really putting together for the new Star Wars universe moving ahead. This is Mike Zero. Make sure to subscribe if you're new to the channel for future Star Wars updates. Also, by the way guys, I am on Twitter at Mike01 if you guys want to go ahead and give me a follow on there. I do post a couple of entertaining things from time to time and interact with you guys further. So, what's really exciting is that we are just about 27 days out from the Book of Boba Fett's release on, of course, the 29th. It's going to be a big deal because that's going to be the big episode of the 7-episode series that's going to actually roll into 2022, leading up to the Kenobi TV series. Now, one thing that we do know about the Book of Boba Fett is that it's going to have a lot of deep connections to what's going to be explored in The Mandalorian Season 3, as well as exploring the gap between Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi. We will also be learning a little bit more about exactly how Boba Fett survived the Sarlacc pit, so that's going to be another great addition to the Book of Boba Fett series, so looking forward to that as well. But when it all dwindles down to Gina Carano, alright, we already know what happened back in February. There's no need to actually talk about that more, but whatever, of course, she went through was quite traumatic to her as a person and as an actress. You know, we all know that Gina Carano has said this many times, is that it was a very traumatizing time for her, for how she got fired and how unorganized it was, and how it really seemed like that she was being pretty much targeted left and right over at Lucasfilm for a series of months, mind you, when she was working on The Mandalorian Season 2 leading up to its release. So with that being said, of course, what's really intriguing has everything to do with what Disney's higher-ups have actually gone through with, of course, specific plans for Gina Carano. Now, of course, that both Disney and Lucasfilm are focused on their new Star Wars projects, where creators like Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni are currently getting ready to make major announcements at Star Wars Celebration next year that will truly take the fans by surprise. However, behind the scenes, it's described that currently Disney's higher-ups are having issues with Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni, trying to move forward and push for Gina Carano's return as Cara Dune, and that Disney's higher-ups recently cancelled a plan that they almost completed that was thankfully stopped by Bob Chapek. Now, originally the Disney higher-ups were moving forward with a plan to cancel out all of Gina Carano's scenes from both Mando Season 1 and 2 by introducing a revised version of those seasons on Disney Plus that would significantly have cut down the running time for some of the episodes. Now, Disney was in fact moving with this plan to essentially cancel out all of Gina's footage as Cara Dune from The Mandalorian Season 1 and 2 in order to actually save their image as a company and to have zero association with Miss Carano. Now, this in turn turned out to be a plan that was nearly complete until both Jon and Dave had multiple meetings with Disney's higher-ups to not only move forward with this, and that Disney CEO Bob Chapek even agreed. Now, one thing that Disney did do was that they sabotaged a plan by Jon Favreau to use many of Gina Carano's deleted scenes from Mando Season 2 to be used in the 3rd season, to indirectly bring her back for the time being, while she works on other important projects aside from Star Wars. Both Jon and Dave were very worried about Disney canceling the scenes of Gina Carano as Cara Dune from the previous seasons, as that would have also impacted the screen time of other characters. Now, this is something that Disney wanted to do also in order to move forward without Carano, and to actually act as if Cara Dune never existed in the Star Wars universe. Bob Chapek knew that this would create a massive backlash, even greater than The Last Jedi's backlash from the fandom, where with these plans we're moving forward, Gina Carano was also very upset and confused over as to why they would do such a thing to this extent. It was something that was not necessary, of course, and would only hurt the actual brand at heart. Now, with this plan now put aside, thankfully, recently Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni had convinced Disney to bring back Gina Carano for The Mandalorian Season 4. However, Disney's higher-ups so far do not want her to return as Cara Dune for multiple reasons. One new reason has to do with the fact that they will no longer be selling any toys, or figures, or statues of Cara Dune moving forward. And so they find it to be a waste of time to actually introduce this character to be used on screen again. Disney is moving forward with Carano portraying a relative of Cara Dune. What kind of relative remains a mystery, but one thing is for sure is that this character is already being designed by Jon Favreau to be suited for Miss Carano. Unless Favreau convinces Disney in January to do otherwise, Cara Dune is not set to return at all in the near future. So the thing about this that I think a lot of fans need to know, one thing that is very important to keep note of, is that Gina Carano said this a couple of weeks ago, that it has actually been a very stressful time for herself to work on The Mandalorian Season 2, what she was going through. She always felt that she was being targeted, like I say, being examined, looking for reasons to fire her left and right when she was working on the last season of the TV show, for herself at least. And when we go ahead and look at the character of Cara Dune, we already know that a lot of families out there, their children, whether it be, daughters or sons, whatever, a lot of people like Cara Dune. And ever since her firing, there is absolutely no lying here that she, as a character, really boosted big time after Carano was fired. We saw a lot of the toys and the figures going up in value on the internet, because not only were they no longer available, but another reason was because of how hard it was to find and what happened to Gina Carano that really made the fans want to get those figures even more. And it's kind of like things worked in an unexpected way in reverse, right? It almost inadvertently made the character more popular than she would have ever been if she hadn't gotten fired. I think that obviously if she were to stay for The Mandalorian Season 3, things could have also worked out great regardless for the character, but there's no denying the fact that this firing really put Gina Carano to the front end and really gave the character more limelight. Now, when we go ahead and also examine what's been going on now with Season 4 of The Mandalorian, keep in mind that the big plan by Disney is to actually retitle The Mandalorian Season 4 to something else, but it's going to still be considered Season 4 of The Mandalorian. So it could very well be called The Mandalorian blank subtitle. We're not quite sure exactly what they're going to call it, but it's not going to be simply The Mandalorian Season 4. It's going to be The Mandalorian something something. And we're not quite sure exactly what that subtitle is going to be, but it is going to actually be a title that indicates the finale of the Mandalorian series. And that's kind of an interesting branding technique. I kind of like that. But moving forward with Carano, I think that overall, given of what Jon and Dave had convinced Disney to actually not do that by canceling her scenes from Season 1 and 2 and releasing revised versions of The Mandalorian as a show, that would have been a disaster. It would have been a nightmare for not only the fandom, but also for all of the actors, all of the cast and the crew that worked on that show. It would have just been a big mess, to say the least. And I'm kind of glad that Jon and Dave worked together with Bob Chapek to move away from that and to just not even consider that as a possibility. If they had moved forward with that, trust me, it would have been a bigger problem in the Star Wars universe than we have already seen by Disney and Lucasfilm. So overall, guys, let me know what you think about everything related to Gina Carano and this entire plan that was thankfully put to an end by Jon and Dave, everything involving the character Cara Dune not coming back for Season 4 so far. Guys, I've said this before, I really feel like that Cara Dune has to come back. It is Gina Carano. Making a relative of Cara Dune to be portrayed by Gina, I'm not so sure about that. I'm kind of lenient on that. But anyways, guys, drop a comment below. Let me know what you think about all this below in the comments. And if you guys did enjoy the content for today, do make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.